Hey, it's Mike Chen. When you hear the word water, what do you think? Cool, refreshing, cleansing, maybe purifying, and just seeing a pool of water on a hot summer day makes you just want to jump in and splash around. And of course, with the earth made up of over 71% of water, you would never run out of chances to take a dive. But be careful, because inviting as they may seem, not all bodies of water are safe. That's like a classic horror movie scene, right? Couple kids are on a date, they see a lake or random pool somewhere and utter those fateful words. Let's go skinny dipping. When they say that, you know they're gonna die. And I don't want that to happen to anybody, so in this video, we're gonna talk about some of the most dangerous waters in the world. We'll start off with number 5, Boiling Lake in Dominica. Bubbling at around 90 degrees Celsius, the very appropriately named Boiling Lake of Dominica is an object of curiosity among locals and visitors to this Caribbean nation, so much so that they take the time to leave the island's majestic beaches and hike about 4 hours just to see this place. The lake, which was first sighted in the 1870s, at least according to records, is actually a fumarole, or an opening on the Earth's crust that emits steam and gases and is often found near volcanic surfaces. In this case, it is located at the Mont Trapiton National Park, a tropical forest of significant volcanic activity. The 7,000-hectare land is home to 5 volcanoes, at least 50 fumaroles, and over a dozen hot springs. But the Boiling Lake is definitely the main attraction, with its bluish-gray water continuously bubbling, heated by the hot steam and gases coming from the molten lava underneath. Its surface is often clouded by vapor, adding mystique to the already curious sight. It is the second largest hot lake in the world, measuring 76 meters across, with temperatures ranging from 82 to 92 degrees Celsius around the edges. And of course, it is hotter at the center, where the lake is actively boiling. But it's too treacherous for anybody to just go and measure there. And you might be wondering, okay, it's neither the largest nor the hottest lake in the world, so what makes it so dangerous? Well, the Boiling Lake gets its water from rainfall and 2 small streams that drain into the area. So its water level is continuously fluctuating, and so is its temperature. Seismologists have actually recorded these instances several times since it was discovered. The most notable of which was in 1880, when an eruption almost drained the entire thing out, leaving only a fountain of hot water and steam. In 2004 to 2005, its water levels dramatically lowered by 10 meters, a huge amount that the lake was able to recover in just a single day. In 2016, the water's temperature became cold enough for tourists to be able to swim in the lake. And because of all this, the fluctuating water levels and temperature levels could be disarming to those visiting this lake and could potentially seduce them to take a dip after a long hike. But scientists say that during these instances, steam explosions could occur and the lake would emit gases like carbon dioxide, which could be very harmful to the body. And most of all, the lake could just go back to its normal boiling state with little to no warning. Number 4, the Potomac River in the US. With a generally tranquil facade, the Potomac River Gorge is among the most deceptive bodies of water on the planet. Located just outside the US capital, Washington, D.C., it is a destination of many wanting a reprieve from the summer heat, with those craving inaccessible adventure. And through the years, the gorge, a 14-mile stretch of the Potomac River, has become a famous spot for hiking, kayaking, fishing, and boating. The current is so strong that a few unknowing tourists who innocently stepped onto its shallow depths were carried away by the currents, only to be found a few days or even weeks later. This river is so deadly that it's said to claim an average of 7 lives per year. And interestingly, it's not even the vicious white water that makes this river so deadly, but the seemingly calm waters. Rescuers say that on the surface, the water may just be moving at 10 knots, but only 5 feet below, it could be as much as 35 knots. And if you get caught in them, chances are you won't be coming back up. Number 3, Jacob's Well in the US. With a depth of about 40 meters, Jacob's Well seduces swimmers and divers from innocent kids to professionals for a plunge. Located in central Texas, its irresistible allure has already claimed the lives of at least 8 divers. Yet children are still often seen swimming on its mouth, even taking a dive from nearby boulders. Jacob's Well is an artisan spring which gets its water from the Trinity Aquifer and spills it into the surrounding Cypress Creek. With a mouth of 4 meters in diameter, it descends some 40 feet before angling down through a succession of chambers. It is Texas's largest underwater cave, reaching depths of at least 120 meters. This, of course, is the well's most seductive feature, and for some reason, the death rate only adding to the curiosity of divers who want to discover its mysteries. In an article titled The Fatal Allure of Jacob's Well, the 4 chambers in Jacob's Well are too narrow, forcing divers to remove their tanks to be able to enter. But once inside, the puzzling layout of the caverns confuses divers, making them unable to identify the right way up. Those too inexperienced for the adventure, they just run out of oxygen. Number 2, Lake Karachay, Russia. A radiation of 600 Roentgens is more than enough to kill any human, and that much concentration once existed in the majestic Lake Karachay in Russia's Chelyabinsk picturesque region. Its coral blue water is so inviting you will want to take a leap if you don't know what it contains. It's definitely a beauty that is much better seen than touched. Scientists say that Lake Karache is among the most polluted places on Earth, and swimming in it could cost you your life. Of course, it didn't just become contaminated on its own. It's all thanks to the Russian government, who used the lake as the dump site for one of its biggest and leakiest nuclear facilities, the Myakka Production Association. The facility was built in utmost secrecy in the 1940s in Russia's bid to catch up to the Western world's weapon technology. So for 45 years, Myakka did not even appear on any map, hidden from the rest of the world, even the residents of nearby villages. Constructed in a great hurry, the facility had no regard for safety and suffered several meltdowns that prompted it to release its radioactive wastes to Lake Karache, where Russian authorities believed they would be buried indefinitely. But 10 years later, a drought struck the region and dried up the lake, exposing the radioactive elements underneath and spreading toxic dusts as far as 900 square miles. Needless to say, this was very harmful to the residents living around the area. But with the facility supposedly not existing, doctors were forced to say that the region was infected with a special disease. It was only in 1992 when then Russian President Boris Yeltsin finally acknowledged the nuclear facility's existence. But by that time, the damage has already been done. Cancer cases around the region has already increased by 21%, birth defects by 24%, and leukemia cases by 41%. At the time of its discovery, scientists say an hour on the banks of the lake would have killed any human being. Today, a load of concrete covers Lake Karache in a bid to prevent radioactive sediments from contaminating the banks. Although researchers say it is now safe to stand on its shore, but why would you? Finally, number 1, Lake Kivu, Africa. 300 cubic kilometers of carbon and 60 cubic kilometers of methane. That's basically a ticking bomb lying beneath the surface of Lake Kivu in Central Africa, along the borders of Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Intense water pressure in the area separates these harmful gases from the over 2 million residents along the banks of the lake by trapping the gases some 80 meters below the surface. But any geological or volcanic phenomenon could easily alter the situation. Although very dangerous, the methane gas trapped beneath the lake could actually be used for industrial and domestic energy, and the two countries have agreed on a 5-year project to siphon off Lake Kivu's abundant gas supply. But this is really a double-edged sword. It could power the surrounding towns while helping reduce the risk of a deadly explosion, or it could disturb the ecosystem and trigger one of the most tragic eruptions in history. Scientists fear that what happened to Cameroon's Lake Nyos 30 years ago would also happen to Lake Kivu, only 1,000 times worse. And if you didn't know, Lake Nyos is a crater lake whose waters are also saturated with carbon dioxide. And in 1986, a landslide caused the release of a huge cloud of CO2 which spread as far as 16 miles within minutes, suffocating both humans and livestock. Because of this, over 1,700 people were killed. Now, Lake Nyos was much smaller at only about 1.6 kilometers. Lake Kivu, on the other hand, measures at 2,700 square kilometers and with over 2 million people living along its banks. So an explosion would definitely be catastrophic. So there you go. Those are some of the most dangerous bodies of water on the planet. And you know what really keeps me safe? It's sort of a paranoia to go into really unknown waters. I don't know whether it's because I've seen Jaws too many times or Piranha too many times, but I live by the golden rule of if you go into the water, whether it's an ocean, I'm not talking about swimming pools, okay? I'm talking about whether it's an ocean or a river, a minnow could injure you. That's why if I was ever in that horror movie scenario and my friends are like, hey, let's go skinny dipping in that random lake, I'd be the only guy left alive. And the first time I went snorkeling in deeper waters, yeah, I think I peed myself a little, but it's okay. It's in the ocean. That's all right. All right, too much information. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I'll see you later.